It just did there. Now technically this start-finish straight is not a straight. There's a corner on it, so you want to go as close to the wall here. Basically right there. And if you want to be really cheeky, you can cross into the pit lane like this and it's still going to be valid. But otherwise stay to the right of the green stuff. And for what is technically turn 2, your braking point is around here at the end of this curb. About right there.
Really, that early? Oof.
Oh, nope. Well, I guess it gets you to prepare, but I brake out around here. This is where I brake, around the 3 line. So right about here. Then I trail it, well, I heavy braking, and then trail it all the way into this apex. This is a double apex corner, so you want to trail it right here, up until here. Release the brakes, coast it a bit, or if you can, and if your setup allows for it, rotate the car with the throttle, hit the second apex right here, and go out wide. And do be careful going onto the gravel here. This will slow you down and grip you, potentially spin you. Bring the car over to the left really quickly. And your braking point is around in the middle of the 1 and 2 boards. I used the start of the tire marks on the curb. So like you can see there, it starts getting darker on the curb. So I brake at about here. However, not 100%. You really don't need it. So brake for a tiny bit. And then what I do is I'll coast into the corner. And then I'll start getting on the throttle right about here. About next to that sausage curb. And then use all the track, go wide on this white curb. Although if you're trying to preserve your tires, get off of it and then get back onto it once you're ready to line up for this next right-hander. This one's a short blip of the brake at about the 1 mark, or at the end of the curb, in case that gets taken out. Once again, coast, unless you're in the Porsche. Go about this wide and then here, so it's kind of a somewhat late-ish apex. Don't go into the curb too early because then you won't have the angle to go there to the exit. You won't have a good angle for the exit. Get on the throttle about, or at least pin it at the sausage curb. Go wide here on the white curb. Obviously don't go into the gravel. Follow the curvature of the road. And you're looking for this next braking zone, you're looking for the 2 board right here. This is where I brake pretty much, about here. And then there's a bit of trail braking, but once I reach about, let's see, about, I think this point is where I fully come off the brakes and coast it into the corner. Then coast it. This is your full apex right here because this is where you want to start getting on the throttle, but don't pin it unless you can in some cars. You're going to be mostly towards the right side of the rubber marks here, and you're going to be going this wide. Obviously don't hit the gravel because that's going to hit, it's going to spin you. This is the one of the more spinny exits, so be careful. And then here you're looking for the 2 board, or the crest. I think the crest is going to be a bit more reliable. So that's about your braking point right here. This one's a really tricky one, so you want to coast a bit. And you want to get as close to the sausage without hitting it, but be careful though. This will bottom out some cars. I know it does in the Audi. So be careful. And you want to throttle on about here, a little bit before it, so that you have a good run into the corkscrew.
Wait, Sam, you're braking back at the 2?
Either at the 2. I use the 2 as as a preparation marker, I guess, and then I brake closer to the crest.
Okay.
So you want to like rotate the car a bit so that the car is a bit more straight, and then get on the throttle before the apex. So like your throttle is gonna be right about here before you even latch onto the curb. That's the ideal one. Then you can go out this wide without invalidating and potentially spinning because there's a gravel right there. And once again, follow the curvature of the road. So you want to be towards the left side here because this braking zone is a bit weird. So you want to stick to the left side, turn in a bit, and then your brake marker is about here, the 2-board or the start of this white curb. So you want to be braking hard there, but then since there's a crest here, you're going to want to let off, like, trail brake momentarily before getting back on the brakes again, because then the car is gonna be straight and downhill without any more crests. And then what I usually do, you can trail brake or coast into this first part of the corkscrew. You can hit about this much. If you go onto the green stuff at any kind of speed, it will bounce you, so do be careful. Then you want to go about this much. You can still, of course, go into the green stuff without invalidating, but once again, you want to keep towards the right side of the road. And then right about this point, right about here is when I start lifting. In some cars, you're going to have to fully coast. Some cars, and depending on your setup, you can just lift without fully coming off the throttle. You want to do that. Follow the rubber. And your apex is going to be this curb right here. Don't touch the sausage. But do be careful once you're getting on the throttle, because this part here, there's like a little crest here. So once you go onto the exit, there's a bit of a drop, and your car might spin. So fully power on once you hit that apex, and then your braking point is about here. You can experiment with the braking points here, because I've experimented with it a bit, and I found that you can carry a bit more speed. So about the 2 mark or the start of the rubber is what you're looking for, or a little bit after the start of the curb. So you want to trail brake it a little bit, but start coasting about this point right here. This is where I start to coast, basically coming off the throttle. Get on this curb. Don't hit the sausage, but this curb will bounce you around a bit if you hit it this kind of at any kind of speed. But it will be critical for speed. And go on this white curb for extra track width. This one is kind of deceptive. So your marker is about the 2-board, but for me, I found myself always overshooting the braking zone, so I'm braking a bit earlier. So I'm braking about this point, not alongside it. But if you're in a Porsche or in a different kind of car, you could probably brake a tiny bit later. And then here, trail brake it in a bit. Hit the curb here. You can take this sausage. This is the safest sausage on the track. You can hit it this much without spinning out, or if you're being careful with the throttle at least. And once again, you can go about this wide, but get back on the road before the green stuff ends. And that's a lap of Laguna Seca. And that is a somewhat decent lap at Laguna Seca.